All right, so we're going to do the last one, which is hatching. So again, I'm going to quickly sketch in my forms using contour lines here. And again, we're doing all of this work to illustrate them, but we don't want to keep all of these lines because we want it to look like a solid opaque form. So we'll just keep the ones we want. Okay, not perfect, but it'll do. And then cone, we need an ellipse. Find the center of the ellipse from the center sides. Those are going to be our connecting lines. And then we're going to go up the center and connect the top point back to the sides. Okay, if you find that it's very wonky, you can use a ruler to fix up the sides of your cone. Okay, again, keep the lines you want, erase the ones you don't need anymore. And sphere, pick a center point, figure out the length of your radius, and kind of do a soft curved line the same distance around that center point. Okay, and then go over those soft sketchy lines with a more solid line. Okay, and last but not least, our cylinder. So we need an ellipse at the top, parallel sides coming down, and a matching ellipse on the bottom so that this edge matches up with this one. Okay, we'll keep what we need, erase what we don't, considering it is a solid form that's not translucent. Okay, make sure that your edges aren't pointy. I feel like mine are a little bit pointy, so I'm gonna round those off nice. All right, so starting with the cube, here we're doing hatching. So here we did like a nice blending job, nice and smooth transitions. Here it's cross hatched, which we did very quickly. Here we're just hatching. So you've got two references at this point. By the time you're on the last row, it's a piece of cake because you've got your different values and your highlights, midtones, and core shadows figured out, okay? So here, again, light source is coming from the upper right-hand side, meaning this part is in the dark. When you're hatching, you're just going in one direction. Okay, and we're just gonna stick with that direction. So we're gonna give the whole thing a bit of a middle tone. The light is coming down this way. So you're gonna have a shadow in this area here. Okay, and then of course the cast shadow, I should say, is going to be the darkest right at the base. So we can go in and layer it up and darken it up. And then this is going to be quite dark because this side is in complete shadow. So we can add some cast shadow back here. Maybe some mid-tone up there. Okay, done. Voila, a hatched form. Okay, here again, we've got our light source coming from the upper right-hand side, meaning this side is going to be in highlight. So add some of your middle tone to this side of the cone. If you accidentally run into highlight, you can always go back and erase, okay? Then we're going to figure out where our cast shadow is going to be. So light is shining over here. So you've got a cast shadow in this area, okay? I'm going to hatch that in. And you're going to darken it as it comes closer to the cone base. Okay, and then you're going to go back and darken your core shadow. Of course, not taking it right to the edge of the form because you want to leave a little bit of reflected light on here. Okay, done. Next we have our sphere. So again, light source is coming from the right upper hand. Here is going to be our hot spot or highlighted area. Everything around it is going to receive some middle tone. Okay, we're going to work up our core shadow, not letting it go right to the edge because we want to leave a little bit of that reflected light. So again, this is pretty easy. You're just working up lines in the exact same direction. When you're shading something spherical with hatching, sometimes your lines could even right, instead of being straight, you can even shade having your hatch lines do this, contour the ball shape of the sphere. Sometimes you'll see, right, a sphere shaded like that too. So if you did that, that's not bad. That actually helps define the roundness. I'm just doing this with some really simple straight lines, but I might actually curve some of them. And again, it shouldn't go like light dark, so I'm going to go ahead and just extend some of these lines in to help them blend back in with my highlight. Okay, and then light is shining down like this. So in this area here, we're going to have some cast shadow. Hatch that in, and then add more hatching towards the base. There were some students in the class that were asking me could I use this knowledge to help me with photography, because I'm hoping to take photography as well. And a lot about taking good photos has to do with utilizing natural light to help define what you want to photograph. So knowing more about how light affects objects depending on what angle it's hitting them can help you with taking better photos of interesting objects as well, for sure. Okay, and our last one here, upper right hand side, the majority of the top in this side here are going to be in highlight, and we're just going to add a little bit of hatching on the side where the light is blocked off, or the main light source, I should say, is blocked off. There's always atmospheric light. Okay, and of course, moving further away, where the light is totally blocked off, I'm gonna build up that hatching into a nice core shadow, leaving a little bit of that bouncing reflected light here. Okay, again, if you overdo your shading and you want to go back in, you can always go back and erase. But it's obviously always easier to go lighter to darker. Okay, and all right, so we have a hatched style, crosshatched, and blended. Okay, and again, one row has to be labeled, showing me that you understand how highlight, middle tone, core shadow, reflected light, and a cast shadow affect a cube, a cone, a sphere, and a cylinder, but you can label any of the 3 rows. I don't care which one you do. Okay, it doesn't have to be your blended one. You can even label one blended cube, one hatched cone, one cross-hatched sphere, and again, a blended cylinder. You can bounce around so long as one cube, one cone, one sphere, and one cylinder somewhere on this handout is labeled. Okay, and of course, you want to make sure that in every single one, you've noted the direction of your light source, which I've done with these bold arrows and little sun icons here, or you can even just write LS for light source and have an arrow pointing down to show me the direction of your light source. Okay, guys? So that's that.